Go for it, Kathy.
Good afternoon, Greece.
No, actually, Paris.
I can't keep
Sorry.
up with you. I cannot keep up
Well,
with
good
you.
morning, Texas. Good morning. How's
Good
it
morning.
going? You
Good
have a good
morning.
sleep?
We're going good. We're going good.
Yeah, you had a good sleep?
I did have a good sleep. How's your day so far?
Well, it's good. I've been presenting at the International Congress of Natural Medicine, and had a lovely
Oh,
presentation on iridology.
oh,
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
yeah, it was 350 people here.
Oh, I love
Very
that.
good. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And you
But
talked about iridology?
yeah, we did. I did. Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's talk
Yeah.
some more about iridology.
We absolutely, and
Well,
I'm really super excited because today we get to hang out with someone in the same time zone as me.
good. But he's a dear old friend of IPA. He's not old.
Absolutely,
He's not old, but he's
he's
been
not old
around
at
for a
all,
while. No, he's very young. But he's been
and he's a good
around for a long
dancer.
time. Oh, lots of good things we could say. Very good teacher and instructor.
Yep, and he's
He's
got great
smart.
belts. He's got very
He's,
good belts. He's always got these eye belts. Every time we
oh,
say, "Come on
yes,
down, Emil."
yes. Yeah, Emil, come on. There he
There we
is.
are. Lovely to
Oh,
see you.
yes. We
Pardon?
miss Emil. We miss you.
We do miss Emil. Emil's been on the IIPA board for a long time, and yeah, we miss you, Emil. So, so Emil, we want to know how
Thank you.
long
Miss you
you've been
too.
doing. Oh, thank you. We want to know how long you've been doing iridology.
Well, I began my first course in iridology in 2004, so I guess it's 20 years by now almost.
Yes.
And I started it within a naturopathic therapy course, where that was one of the modules. So that was for a Swedish teacher called Dr. Kjell Söderlund. And that kind of sparked the interest for me. And then I was very fortunate that the year after that, Ellen Todd Jensen had planned to come and teach in Sweden. So
Yeah.
I went to her courses, IIPA 1 and IIPA 2, during 2005 and 2006.
Awesome. You
So
must have
that's
been
how it all
14.
started.
You must have been 14 then.
No, not really, but I was young, yes. I was young
Awesome.
and eager to study.
Yes. Yeah. I remember Ellen saying that you were one of her most eager students.
Well, I know that I got to translate her chart by the second year, I think, because I was so interested, and not all the students had English as a language that they used a lot. So I said, can't I just translate the chart for you so that it will be easier to use in Sweden,
Yeah.
and also for the Norwegians, because it's quite similar. So I really got stuck straight away.
Awesome.
That is neat. That is neat. So, Emil, who really inspired you to get into iridology? Was it one person? Was it a bunch of people, or what? Who inspired you?
I would say there was four people. So I'll do this one. It started when I was 14, and I met a girl at a folk music festival, and her mother was an herbalist, and so she kind of introduced me to this other field of health. And then Dr. Kjell Söderlund, which was my first proper teacher within natural health care. And then, of course, when it comes to iridology, Ellen was a major part and mentor of me becoming so interested. And then also, my family has always pushed me and always stood behind me in my choices. So those people really helped me get the opportunity to study iridology and to put the time that I needed and to go to the courses that I wanted to.
Excellent.
Wow, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm sure they're reaping the benefits of inspiring you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah, out of all the things that you've learned in iridology, what would you say your favorite sign is?
Sorry, my favorite subject within
No,
iridology.
your favorite sign, like what part of the iris do you like most?
Oh, well, that's a really difficult question for because when we read an eye or make an assessment of an eye, what we mostly talk about are potential issues and potential nurture points, things that we need to deal with to keep our health better, or to keep us healthy for longer. So I guess that my favorite sign would be no sign. On the other hand, I've never seen that in any eye or any person, and I'm not sure it would be something that I would consider natural either, because we're not supposed to be supreme beings. We're supposed to be human. We're supposed to have flaws and strengths. What I do really like, if we look at it more artistically, is with a colored colorette, because it makes a nice picture.
It really does. Wow, that we've never had that answer, and I love that.
Okay.
that's the best answer so far.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Mhm.
That's cool.
I told you he was smart.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, like in our IIPA board, we've always thought Emil was one of the smartest people we've met.
He is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, with interest, you also get devoted to something.
Yeah.
And when you get devoted, that fills your mind. So iridology is something that I carry with me, even when I'm not practicing iridology, which I don't all days of the 365 of the year, but many. And that means that, I always keep on thinking about different things, about different signs, combinations, and also combinations towards other therapies. Because I think that's the brilliant thing about iridology, is an assessment tool which can be combined with so many other things.
Yeah. Awesome. And before we play a little game, I've just got one more question. You've written a book about your research in charts from all around the world. What inspired that? How did that come about?
Well,
yeah.
Well, I did my my naturopathic studies alongside with biomedicine studies. And within biomedicine, there's a lot of research going on. So I thought, well, why can't I just continue? And that was really difficult where I live in Sweden, because all the professors, they just said, we don't have the knowledge here in Sweden to be able to guide you through this. We can't be your mentors. So when I was at a centennial celebration of Bernard Jensen, I met the principal of the university where I studied. And he said, but what would you like to do? And I said, well, I would like to see that wherever you go in the world, iridology around the world should be the same. You might have different experiences as a therapist or as an analyst, which can make the answers sound different. But, our basic foundation of knowledge should be the same. So that was what inspired me to write this thesis about one science or many, iridology, one science or many.
Awesome. It's a great book.
Excellent.
Thank
you. Excellent. Yeah. Love it.
But Kathy, I think it's time for our game.
Oh, okay. So, Emil, we'll have you pick a number between 1 and 36, please.
1 and 36, that will be 7.
Cool.
7.
This is a new question, so because this is a popular number.
Oh, I think we move them around. I think we move them around. Well, we've had this question before. It's a good question. And it's good to hear this answer from many different iridologists. But what advice would you give a new iridologist for business building tips or ideas?
Okay, so for a new iridologist to build their own practice around the assessment within iridology, Correct.
Yes.
I would give them, I would say, go out there. Don't be afraid to show what you know, what you can. Invite people to get to know what iridology is. At least in Sweden, when you mention iridology, a lot of people will go, what is that? Teach them. Don't give them a whole course, but just give them some information about, okay, so what can you see? What can you do? Why should you do it? And spread the word that they can come. And perhaps I usually do micro analysis, I call it. So I say, okay, I can look in your eye and see if I can see something without my camera, without my microscope, that I could just tell you, okay, this is what I see, and this is what it could be related to. And then we talk about if that's something that they can relate to. And I just pick out one or two things. And if they say, oh, this is interesting, I want more. Okay, let's book an appointment, because an iris analysis takes much longer, and we need to be much more detailed to be able to give you the best experience and also the best help in what to do with your health and lifestyle.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
No, we can't have a Tritto. You've got to answer the question.
Oh, you're just a step ahead of me, aren't you, today? New tips and ideas for a new iridologist. I would say the same thing. Do not be afraid to tell someone what iridology is. A lot of times when people say to me, or they ask me, they'll say, what do you do? And I tell them, I'm an iridologist and I study the markings and the signs in the eye. They have a funny look on their face sometimes, or they'll say, oh, well, look in my eye and tell me something. Well, come here. Come here, step over here. Let me see what you've got going. And it's foreign to a lot of people to have you answer iridologists when they've never heard of that before. People have heard of, doctors and lawyers and, shoe salesmen. They've heard of all these things, but they've never heard of iridology. So I agree with Emil. Teach what iridology is, even if we have to do a little micro analysis really, really quick. But that's how we're going to get the word out there.
Yeah. And I agree with the microanalysis, which is great. But also, I think, there's 16 billion eyes in the world. So, just look, everyone's got eyes, mostly. So you just speak to people about their eyes. People love hearing about themselves. And even if it's something like, people with blue eyes are so-and-so, or people with, eyes like that look green are so-and-so, that has a flow-on effect. And I think also with younger iridologists, it's important to use social media, because social media is a great way of growing your brand, if you like. And it could be just really simple things like, like you could have a photo of a blue iris and say, did you know that blue-eyed people usually have more issues to do with their upper respiratory system or something like that? And also, if you may feel better by having less bread or less, dairy. And that just sparks people's interest, I think. Yeah. Because really,
absolutely,
we're going to see lots of people in our lives, but if you've got like 100 friends on your Facebook and then they've got 50 friends each, it'll be a little bit wider as well. Yeah, but great answer, Neil. I love that. And the microanalysis are great.
We must never be afraid to talk about what we do and what we love. And my problem is when I get turned on, I don't stop. I just keep going. And sometimes I don't know when to turn off iridology because I get so excited about it, because it can help so many people on so many levels, different places in their life. So
it definitely
go ahead.
It definitely can, and I also think it's important, because sometimes when I tell people that I work with iridology, suddenly their sunglasses pops down, and they go totally, black and don't read my eyes. And I try to be frank and say, well, I don't do that if you don't ask me to. I might see something, but I don't analyze it. I don't assess it, because that is your private area, so to speak, as private as the rest of the body is, or the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But instead I might say, okay, what about your friend? Or what about my brother next to me? Could I tell you something about his eyes? And usually they say, yeah, sure, do, as long as you don't read mine. And that's also a way of sparking an interest, when I can tell them something and then we can relate it to perhaps an ailment or something like that. And then they might go, well, I'm going to think about it. And next time you see them, the sunglasses are off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. That is great.
Yes. Oh, it's been such a pleasure.
It has.
And I love your shirt, I must say.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Both of you guys are such snappy dressers. Here I am in just a plain color, and you guys are you're just shining like a couple of flowers.
You've just woken up on a Sunday.
Yeah, well, I should have been a little bit more bright. But you both look beautiful.
Well, thanks again, Emil. It's been a real pleasure to see you again, and hopefully see you soon.
Enjoy your holiday, Emil.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.